America looks at itself differently, and the world looks at America differently. I believe that as somebody who is not a baby boomer and wasn't brought out of, not coming out of the battles of the 60s, that instead of looking backwards, I can help the country start to look forward. But what I also know is I can't do these things by myself.
That's right.
You know, I am reminded every single day of my life, if not by events, then by my wife. Perfect man. And I am not going to be a perfect president. But what I can promise you is this. I can always tell you what I think. I will always tell you where I think. I will be honest with you about the challenges we face. Because we won't solve them if I just give you a bunch of political talk. I will listen to you even when we disagree, and we're going to disagree sometimes on it. Most importantly, I will wake up every single day in the White House thinking about how can I make your lives a little bit better? And how can I open up our government so that you can participate in our democracy again? In other words, I'm asking you to trust in my ability to lead this country. But I'm also asking you to trust in yourself, especially the young people who are out here. At every juncture in our history, it's been young people who led the charge. It's been young people who imagine not just the world as it is, but the world as it might be. Every single time, it's been millions of voices across America who brought about change. Change doesn't happen from the top down, it happens from the bottom up. That's how we brought them in. That's how unions got the right to organize. That's how farm workers were able to regain their dignity. That's how women got the right to vote. That's how we brought them into the Vietnam War. That's how we brought them to the Iraq War. Because all people raise up your voices and say, we want change.
We want change.
We want change. We can believe it.
We want change. We can believe it.
Now, what that means, if you believe in that, if you believe in yourself and not just me, then I want you to leave this not just saying, well, that was a nice speech, that was a nice afternoon. I want you to say to yourself, how can I get involved? How can I be engaged? How can I sign up as a foot soldier for this movement for change? How can you get involved in the campaign? How can you knock on doors? How can you make phone calls? How can you recruit your friends and neighbors? How can you contact your parents and your grandparents and your aunts and your uncles? How can we energize the entire country around change? And if you are doubtful about the power of your voice to bring about change, I'm going to end with a real quick story. I was in South Carolina. Because South Carolina is an early state. And I was campaigning there, and I was at a legislative banquet. And I was a keynote speaker, but I was first before I spoke. I was sitting next to the state representative, and I really wanted this state representative's endorsement. So I said to the state representative, I want your endorsement. And she looked at me and she said, Obama, I will give you my endorsement if you come to my hometown of Greenwood, South Carolina. And I must have had a glass of wine or something, because right away I just said, okay. No questions asked. Turns out that Greenwood, South Carolina is an hour and a half from every place else. So the next time I fly into South Carolina, it's about a month later. And we come in late. I've been campaigning for 2 weeks straight. I'm really exhausted. And I get to the hotel room about 12:30, and I'm going into my room. My staff taps me on the shoulder and says, Senator, you've got to be in the car at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I said, why? They said, you've got to go to Greenwood, South Carolina, like you promised. I said, you're right, I promise. The next morning I wake up and I am just feeling beat, just battered, bruised. I stagger out of bed. I open up the shade to the hotel room window and it's pouring down rain outside. Miserable looking thing. I get some coffee and I start reading the newspaper. There's a bad story about me in the New York Times.
Oh, damn.
I go downstairs. After I pack, I go downstairs, my umbrella blows open, and I get drenched. Now I'm wet, I'm sleepy, and I'm mad. And we get in the car, and we start driving, and we drive, and we drive, and we drive, and we drive. We drive out to Greenwood. And finally we get there, although you don't know you're in Greenwood right away because there are no tall buildings there. It's all fields, and you run alongside a park, there's a little building. And we go inside the building, and after this hour-and-a-half drive, lo and behold, there are only 20 people there. 20 people after this hour-and-a-half drive. And they all look like they're kind of damned. And maybe they're not that happy to see me. But, you know, 20 votes is 20 votes. So I'm shaking hands and saying hello to everybody. Suddenly, behind me, I hear this voice. Fire up! And I'm startled, but the other 20 people from Greenwood in the room, they all act like this is normal. They all say, fired up. And then I hear the same voice say, ready to go! And the other 20 people, I hear them all say, ready to go! And I look back, and there's this tiny woman standing there. She's about 5'3". She's about 65 years old. She's got a church outfit on, got a big hat, glasses, and she's smiling right at me, and she says, fired up! And it turns out that she is a city councilwoman from Greenwood that is famous for her chant. She's been chanting for years like this. In fact, they call her the chant lady. And she's very proud of this chant, so for the next 5 minutes, she just keeps on chanting. Fired up, ready to go, ready to go. And it's really loud now, so I can't campaign. I'm just standing there. I don't know what to do. I'm standing, I'm looking at my staff. They shrug their shoulders. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. ASU, after about a minute or two, I'm feeling kind of fired up. I feel like I'm ready to go. So I start joining in the chant. I start joining in, and my staff starts joining in, and we're all feeling kind of good all of a sudden. And even after we left Greenwood for the rest of the day, every time I told my staff, I said, are you fired up? They said, fired up, boss. You ready to go? I said, I'm ready to go. And it goes to show you how one voice can change the mood of a room. One voice can change a room, and it can change a city. And if it can change a city, it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a country. And if it can change